we'll go ahead and call the
We'll make it.
FDA meeting to order. November 26th meeting. Start by approving the agenda, which you have in front of you. If there's no changes or additions.
I'll second.
Motion for White, second from Mr. Supis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next order of business would be to approve the minutes from the October 29th meeting, which is in your packet. Take a moment to review those if you haven't already. Motion from Blake,
Second.
second from Nancy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Old business. Is there any old business to come before the authority? Hearing none. We'll move on to new business and turn it over to Rob Sobook.
All right. First of all, I think all of you were here last week, but welcome to Rick.
Yes.
Welcome aboard.
Rick is the new FARGODOME Authority member from Cass County, replacing with the untimely passing of Vern Bennett. So Rick was appointed for that, so he will fill out the rest of Vern's term, which actually had just started. So next 3+ years. So we'll look forward to working with you guys. Otherwise, we will turn to page 3, the financials through the month of October. As always, the left-hand side of the page is the month of October. Right-hand side is year-to-date. We'll start with the month of October. We had 11 events, attendance of 81,100 compared to 77,650. Total event income of 441,700. Slightly below the budgeted number of 453,500. We had expenses, indirect expenses of 353,400, or about 23,500 above the budget of 329,700. We ended up with a net surplus for the month of just shy of $230,000, $229,199, but that was about 33,600 below the budgeted 262,800. On the event side, it kind of came out there where concerts were about $50,000 above budget. Celine Dion was the budgeted show, exceeded budget, good per caps, or good attendance, a little bit lighter per caps. Those adult contemporary shows don't typically have the pounders that the Rob Zombie show crowds have, Marilyn Manson. But then we also had Miranda Lambert in October. That show was not budgeted. Good per caps, but attendance was down a little bit versus the guarantee. On the NDSU side, 2 NDSU football games. Good attendance, again, just the correlation with per caps down slightly from budget. They're good per caps, and they're strong per caps for the amount of butts that are in the seats, just not when you correlate it with the number that gets put out on the air. So, or with people leaving halfway through the second quarter is typically the challenge of all that, but still very good events. The theater side, we had Chris Tomlin in the Gate City Theater. Attendance was down. We should have known that since we ended last year's, or April, with a winter storm on Casting Crowns, we would have started the fall with the winter storm on Chris Tomlin. So it had a little effect on attendance, but also the overall. But so with the rent for that show being a percentage of the ticket sales, and the ancillaries are lower for the Christian contemporary shows. The big one on the trade show, attendance was down slightly from budget and prior year, so that affects all of our revenue pieces as well. On the indirect expense side, we were about $15,000 above budget in operations, with colder, very, very busy month in October. And then also, as we talked last week, with that winter storm that was coming through during Chris Tomlin on Thursday the 10th, with having NDSU's homecoming football game on the 12th, the word was out with a lot of the ice that could be forming that we could have power outages. So we did fill our generator, about 5,500 gallons of fuel. So that was $12,000 of a untimed expense, but we wanted to be prepared in case we were going to have to run off a generator power for a while. and then all others about 8,000 above budget, mainly due to higher incentive with a busy month, strong food and beverage sales, so on the incentive side. Any questions on the month of October?
You know, it's a busy month when almost every event type box is full.
Yep.
Yeah.
For the month.
Yeah. Year to date then, we've had 92 events with attendance of just shy of 414,500. We've had total event income of just over $2,454,000, which is about $4,600 above the near $2,450,000. So that's just how good Susan is. She can get within. My head hurts and I'm too tired to even do the math on that, but it's really small. We'll just call it that way. Of a percentage. Indirect expenses of just over $3.4 million, which is about $19,000 above the budgeted $3.389 million. But obviously, when you have more events, more people, more things going on, that gives us a net surplus through the first 10 months of $429,400, which is $62,500 above the 367. So we're still sitting good compared to budget on that. I can go over the variances if you want, but year to date, as we talked about again last Wednesday, playoffs excluded, we're pretty much right on budget as far as we're going. November was an extremely busy month. The Slayer concert, again, not as tended as well as the promoter might have been hoping for it to be, but I think hit the numbers we thought it was going to hit. But that is also a non-budgeted show, so all of the 6 budgeted concerts have flown through gone through the budget as well. But, about right on budget, and with football playoffs obviously have one for sure. We will be a little above budget compared to for that. Any questions on the financials?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the October financials as presented.
Second. Motion from Blake, a second from Dan.
So roll call, Rick,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Cliff,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Blake.
Thank you. Past events.
All right, starting page 15, our last meeting was October 29th. As we talked then, Celine Dion show was having their pre-rig. We had that show on Wednesday, October 30th. Very tight, quick turnover to high school football playoffs. Doors opened at 11:30. First game started at 12:30 Thursday afternoon with 4 games on Thursday, October 31st, and then another 4 games on Friday, November 1st. I had a couple of days to kind of recover the crew here, but then we had on Saturday, November 9th, NDSU hosted Western Illinois, and then the Bands of the Gridiron, the NDSU Gold Star Marching Band on Sunday the 10th. As you can see in the lobby now, then that following week, the Festival of Trees, Fraser Limited loaded in for their Festival of Trees that will run through Sunday, December 8th is when they'll distribute that. Dakota Bowl, which is the North Dakota High School Football Championships, loaded in on Thursday, November 14th. They had 4 games on Friday, November 15th. NDSU hosted South Dakota, or according to the officials, South Dakota State, for their last regular season football game on Saturday the 16th. Immediately after that game was over, the turf was pulled and building changed over for Slayer on Sunday the 17th. At least we got to stay to a concrete floor, but they started setting the volleyball floor, the new floor, on Monday and Tuesday, the 18th and 19th, and we just wrapped up the North Dakota High School State Combined Class A, Class B volleyball tournament this past Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the 21st to the 23rd. The court was very well received.
Oh, good.
We did we noticed one of our volleyball stanchions for the net is bent a little bit. Might have been on purpose, but so we're actually getting a better system, and there is some money in there. So we're looking at some portable volleyball stanchion, net stanchions that basically would be the same setup that's used by the Minnesota High School Activity League, which actually makes the volleyball court set even quicker, because then we can start in one corner and build it versus build in two middles to make sure the net falls right on the right spot, and then build out each side. So makes it even better. Then Sunday, the 24th, I met the Metro Student Council ambassadors. Here they marked the floor, and they just wrapped up Fill the Dome today. They dropped off all the food yesterday, and we're cleaned up and out of here by about 12 o'clock, 12:30 this afternoon.
So is it all gone?
The food is all gone.
Wow.
Packed up, and it was 1.5 semi-loads were of pasta. Dakota Growers Pasta, I think, donated a semi-load of pasta. I don't know the numbers for this year, but I know they were talking in the 13 years, somewhere in the neighborhood of over 2 million pounds of food, and like $620,000 raised in the 13 years of Fill the Dome. So it's a pretty cool event for
it's very nice.
for going from the high school volleyball tournament, where the high school students were maybe driving us, some of us, a little crazy, and we were really wondering about society and how it's going to go over the next 15, 20 years.
Getting deep, Rob.
2 days later, when that makes you proud when they pull off what they did there. Any questions on past events from the board?
How many years is the volleyball? Is that a rotation, or is that
The volleyball's a rotation. This was the 4th year we've had it. We have it again in 2020, and essentially the High School Activities Association wants to be in Fargo every year that NDSU is on the road for their last regular season game. When they're not in Fargo, they're out in Minot. So it basically only goes between Minot and Fargo. Moving forward then, obviously Thanksgiving, a well-deserved break for everybody. AstroTurf actually will arrive tomorrow morning to do some work. They'll work maybe tomorrow, but they'll work Thanksgiving, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on repairing a couple of tears or rips in the football turf on the leader side, which wraps up into the cob. Then the Northern Ag Expo moves in on Sunday and Monday, December 1st and 2nd, with that show on the 3rd and 4th. On Thursday the 5th, the Health Tech and Trades Career Expo will happen from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and they'll load out, and at 2:30 we'll kind of do an all hands on deck, pull the turf out of the pit so NDSU can practice Thursday late afternoon, early evening, prep on the 6th for the playoff game, and then on December 7th at 2:30 kick, they'll be hosting the winner of Nichols State and UND. Following that, they will pull the football turf again as we have Cirque Dreams Holidays in the Gate City Theater on Wednesday, December 11th, and then hopefully turf comes back out again for playoff games potentially on Saturday the 14th and Saturday the 21st. Wrapping up the month of December with Rumble on the Red, December 26th through the 29th as well. And just a reminder to everybody that the next FARGODOME Authority will be in meeting will be in conjunction with the Holiday Social, the FDA Holiday Social, which will be only in 2 weeks, Monday the 9th of December, and that is at 4:30 p.m. And then the social runs 5:30 to 7. And no, Rick, you do not get out early to go sample things before everybody else gets here. Even though Mr. Soupas continuously whines for it.
Bacon.
Candy
They got the
bacon.
bacon.
I don't know the menu. I'm not in charge of that.
I don't come for the meeting.
Any questions on upcoming events? But yes, it was an extremely busy month of
Very busy,
October and November. Like I said before, I think we moved the turf. Well, if you combine October, November, and even September, I think it's moved nearly 10 times, which equals 20 times, because once in, once out. So obviously there's wear and tear on that, but that is being fixed and worked on over the week. So thank you to my colleagues here, who are a great group of people who make it look easy, even though sometimes it's not very easy. If there's nothing else, that would conclude my report.
Thanks, Rob. Move on to committee reports. Blake, would you mind giving the building and finance report?
We heard the October financials, so project updates. Susan shared the ticketing RFP that's going out for the FARGODOME Civic Center. They'll be going out in the next couple weeks to be due in January. Our existing contract ends when?
December 31st of 2020.
Okay. So moving forward with that, Susan also shared the replacement cost appraisal that came in on the building and equipment that came in at $144 million. I believe we're insured at $181 million.
And the 144 we believe is
Low.
simply construction cost, and it does not account for any code changes. So it would be significantly more than 144 million to rebuild the facility, even as is, but particularly to the new codes.
So was that just anything being done with that, or is that just?
I think it was to point it out, but for us as management to point out to the authority to make sure you're okay. We do not feel it would be proper to lower
Right.
our building valuation, which might have a slight effect on our current insurance rates, but that it was a 2-year contract, I believe, for property anyway. And with a slight escalation, the 2020 premiums should be in line with budget anyway, so we don't feel it would be prudent to lower the valuation.
But it was the confirmation we were looking for that the building limit is adequate, so
Yes.
it really did
Yeah.
do that for us.
That it's not 250 or.
Right.
Yeah. Capital reallocation request, we approved to kind of move forward the purchase of a snow pusher. It was approved for the 2020 budget, just moving it up to 2019. So we approved a low bid from Titan for $12,900, and we will use the budgeted funds from the budgeted non-allocated bucket for that purchase. And then last, the escrow or the performance report. Net position right now is 43.5 million, and our year-to-date return is a positive 1.24%. So that would conclude my report, and I'll move to approve the building and finance committee report.
Thanks,
Second.
Blake. Roll call?
Rick?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Blake?
All right. Any additional items?
Just an informational piece, not that it kind of ties in capital, escrow, similar to what we did with the family restrooms, mother rooms, and the remodel of this women's restroom here. I did ask Ariel Ingebretson to come out more on the interior design side and look at our backstage catering area, as long as all of our dressing rooms down, the 6 main dressing rooms down there. If we do anything, it'll have been 20 years since those have really been touched, they were redone after the flood. The catering room itself is kind of stark and white and bright, and it's one of those building amenities that when you have the level of entertainers coming through that we have here, the expectation is major market expectations, even though we're not population-wise anywhere near a major market. So having them look at those areas, those are again areas that likely will not be touched very much or significantly by other building changes we've been discussing. So they're going to put some ideas together to make it a little bit more comfortable and easier, and just try to do our best to take another area of potential stress for our staff and promoter touring staff on a show day basis. Maybe try to make it a little bit less stressful in those areas. So expect more information. It's not going to be a $10,000 project. Hopefully it's not going to be the cost of the bathrooms, but it is, as you can see, it is something that is looked at by promoters and helps to bring very large numbers through the building and entertainers in the building. And I just looking out with what we've already announced for 2020 with Jason Aldean and Cher and Elton John. Hopefully more to come. So we'll
Big
look at that
acts.
as well.
Those are mainly cosmetic for the most part.
In the catering area, yeah. In the dressing rooms, kind of the living area, but then I think we're looking at probably tearing out shower, restroom, and sink, makeup, get ready area, and kind of redoing that to a little bit more modern. It was fun to have Kim Manuel go through and go, "Oh my God, you have this!" And I said, "Careful, you're the one who redid this." "Oh, that's right. I really liked small tile back then." I said, "Yes, obviously." But so, just again, one of those things that we feel as building management, it's our responsibility to kind of look at those areas to what are the hot buttons and look through and try to find ways to make it more welcoming and ease difficulties. That's all I got.
Any questions for Rob on that? If there's nothing else, we're adjourned.